Welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, where we uncover the powerful truth about your beginnings and how they've shaped your entire life. I'm Shannon O'Flaherty, and in this show, we are not just exploring your birth, we are dismantling the chains of generational trauma. We're diving into the core of who you are, peeling back layers of inherited beliefs and behaviors that have held you back for far too long. This isn't just about understanding your past, it is about reclaiming your future. Get ready to break free. This is Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, and your transformation starts now. Hi, Shannon O'Flaherty here. Thank you so much for joining us today. And in this episode, we are diving deeply into the transformative power of ritual and how it serves as a pathway to reclaiming personal sovereignty, reconnecting with nature, and realigning with our natural rhythms. Ritual is more than just a practice. It's a remembering, a way to root back to our own inner authority and intuition. Whether through daily sacred moments or full ceremonial experiences, rituals help us break free from societal conditioning, honor the wisdom of the earth, and cultivate a more intentional, empowered life. We'll explore how integrating ritual into your life can support deep healing, self-trust, and a profound sense of belonging. And today with me to talk about all of this beautiful sacred ritual wonderment is Alli Mary Epp, who is a celebrated ceremonial artist, clinical hypnotherapist, a mother of two, and weaver of the everyday sacred. Her quest to live the most aligned and alive life possible has taken her from being a film and TV actress, a nomadic yoga teacher, a high-powered financial advisor, and now to the small Canadian coastal town of Comox, British Columbia, where she runs her own hypnotherapy and healing arts studio. Alli's pure joy is weaving together hypnosis and healing arts to help others reconnect with their heart's desires and soul gifts. Alli, welcome. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being here.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor. And I love that intro. Wow.
Well, I'm just so blessed to have such an array of wonderful, wonderful friends in my radar from near and far, and I love this global community. I was just speaking to the producer ahead of time, like, wow, there you are in British Columbia. Here I am in England. I think this show airs from Seattle, Washington, so it's absolutely fantastic to create a global community. So, Alli, let's just jump right in here. Now, what initially inspired you to become a ceremonialist?
Yeah, Shannon. Well, it's so great that you and I are having this conversation, I have to say, because truly, you are one of the people I think that inspired me along this path. And I don't know how much we've actually spoken about that, but for our listeners, I was living in London, England at a time, doing theater and a whole bunch of interesting random things, and got invited on the shamanic journey to Peru. And it took me really into the depths of these beautiful Andean shamanic mountain practices that I had never experienced before. And it really awoke something in me, Shannon. It really awoke something that I didn't know was missing. And I would say it was a deep connection to the sacred, and also that, like you said in the intro, this the sacred within ourselves, but also the sacred of the land, the sacred rhythms that we all, we interweave with each other. And it was really at a time when I was, like I said, quite nomadic, such a gypsy, doing all these different things, and it really stuck with me. It stuck with me, and it really was part of my seeking journey. And then it was back when I was living in BC, where I got invited to a baby blessing ceremony. And this is where I think it fits so perfectly with your podcast, and the topic is that I went to this baby blessing or mother honoring ceremony for this beautiful friend that was about to give birth. And I had only ever been to baby showers before.
Yeah.
Like we're talking where it's really focused around, it's cute, but it's like the presents and the silly games and the hats. And, there's a lovely lightness, but this was something so different. This, this was a circle of women who were honoring this rite of passage in a way that I had never experienced before, where
Mhm.
we were all surrounding her with our words of love, where everyone was offering a different poem or a story or a blessing for mom and the baby. We all sang songs together. We braided her hair and put flowers in it. We massaged her feet. And the amount of love that I felt in this circle and the amount of this different experience of what it would be going into motherhood, it really, again, it felt like this, both this waking up and also this deeply familiar sense. Like
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. What were you going to
Yeah,
say?
I can really resonate with that. I mean, and you talk about initially going to Peru, and there we are laying on the land and in ceremony together and calling in the energy of the land, which some people were thinking, like, what? What is this? But it's like calling in parts of yourself that are there, dormant, kind of waiting to be reawoken and reconnected with. Because you think about when we're pregnant, that baby in utero is having that dance and that connection with the mother the whole time. And
Yes,
so why shouldn't that mother really dive into that kind of connectivity and embrace that in a sacred way instead of just thinking, yeah, I'm having a baby, like
right,
whatevs, you know?
right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
how did that baby sacred ceremony impact your life?
Well, it made me realize exactly what you're saying, that this dormant part of me had woken up, and this deep remembering happened of like, oh yes, women in circles creating this magic, this container. This this is something I need in my life. I need more of this. And all the different ways. So then when I became pregnant, I felt the same calling. I mean, there's tons of books on every kind of anatomy thing and how it's going to go and what to eat and all those things, which are important. But I was so craving on the deepest level the spiritual component of becoming a mother. That's what my heart wanted. I found that was harder to come by. And it was there. Like there was threads of it, but there I hadn't really been to, except for that one circle, very many baby blessings or mother honoring circles. It wasn't really a thing. And so I started to explore more of that. And I did my own training. I did 2 prenatal yoga trainings, which really also helped me kind of more on the spiritual side, but also the physical side of birth. And then I did my more of my own um, yoga training, ritual training, and deep connection with the earth training. And I would say that would just be a natural apprenticeship with the elements, really. And I started offering circles and started with small circles and circles of women. And then I started to get asked to do these circles for other women who were having babies. And it began to just naturally, very organically grow and grow, where I saw really this need for honoring these life passages, these big life events, these big threshold moments. Then it got to the point where people wanted me to do one for their birthday, which also became such a beautiful thing. So instead of, just doing the usual dinner or, drinking or whatever the thing is, presents, we started having these circles for these milestone birthdays where we'd gather circles of beloved friends and share something about what we loved about the person. Because
Hmm.
we do that at funerals. We do that at
Yeah.
funerals, but why don't we
Yes,
do that when folks are still on this
really.
plane and they
Let's
can receive it? And it's so
let's celebrate
profound.
the life.
Yes,
Yes, because people think about ritual as something sort of religious or rigid or very kind of very, very serious. So,
right.
you're defining ritual in a whole other way. How would you define ritual? I mean, you've talked about baby ceremonies, you've talked about celebrating birthdays, and we've kind of touched on that. But how can it be a very liberating force in our life? How would
Yes.
you define?
Yes, and the way that speaks to my heart the most, and it's actually a quote of one of my beloved local authors. Her name's Tokapa Turner, and she says this about ritual, which I think just gets to the heart of it. She says it's an ancient technology which helps us connect the unseen to the seen realms, connect deep with our inner and outer rhythms in a way that weaves greater togetherness.
Oh,
That
I
weaves
love
greater
that.
together. I know. And that just, I mean, that's such a poetic way to say, but because really so many things can be ritualistic. But
Yeah.
for me, it's that weaving together of the inner and outer worlds. And it's that acknowledgement, that sacred pause to recognize we are these cosmic beings. And we get so caught up in our day to day and the mundane and the things that we need to do to make the world move forward, that ritual and ceremony become these really important pauses for us to recognize ourself and who we are, to connect with ourselves, very important. But it's not just a connection with ourselves, it's a way to have deeper connection with the earth and with our world, really.
It's very shamanic.
Very
It's
shamanic, it really is.
very
And
shamanic. And
yes.
the ritual, it doesn't have to be a big, huge thing. I mean, praying, I've disciplined myself to pray over my food, to bless my food, because in that moment, I'm connecting to the very first seeds of its becoming on earth, to fill it with light and to make it the most alkaline for my body, to create a new dance between the food and me, and to send the spirit of the food back to source, and then so that it's clean and creates cleanliness and unity to go back to the earth to start the process all over again. And that ritual, even though it's just me, maybe quietly in my mind, or if I'm at a table with others, I will bless the whole table and everybody's food. But that's a ritual. I
Yes.
bless my car every time before I drive it, to make it a safe and wonderful journey, because I want to be in connection with everything. And this can take literally 60 seconds.
Oh
Ritual can
yeah.
be quick. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, thank you. That's such a beautiful example of yeah, something like that, blessing your food, which is something that we've done for millennia. For it's such just part of being human, but a lot of us have lost it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just
I,
lost those little moments, and then like you said, relate it with something that has to be this grandiose, very dogmatic thing, when really it can be that simple. You can have a ritual shower and picture yourself
yes.
being cleansed with white light and all the old energy and stuck energies being released from you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many ways that you can do that. Just for myself, I do a daily ritual of just lighting a candle in the morning, but I don't turn on any lights when I wake up. I don't check my phone, and I the only light is a candle. I bring it with my lemon water, and I just take a moment to think of things that I'm grateful for. And then I go into to prayer and meditation as well. But just something like that, lighting a candle and thinking of three things that you're grateful for. I mean, that could be a profoundly devotional practice if you're doing it every day. And it's really more about the intention of things.
It's
Yeah.
really sweet. I think that even my cat has a little ritual with me. She's one too, because every morning she comes in. She's not a touchy-feely cat, but she comes in and gets under the covers with me and suckles on the edge of my pillow. And that's our kind of little connect time. It's every morning. And if it doesn't happen, it's like something's missing in the day. And she has her time with me just to bond. And I'm speaking sweetly to her. And we have our little moment of just like, yeah, we're connected, because she's not a lap cat, not like a normal cat. But it's like her way of letting me know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. And this is our little thing that we do every day. And if I'm out of bed early for some reason, she's standing there looking at me like, what are you doing? This is
We're
my
going to
time
do
with
our
you.
thing. Yeah.
And that's a little ritual that I have with my little kitty, which is really quite sweet, because nothing else is mattering in that moment. It's our time together.
Right.
So you
Right.
have your ritual with yourself. You can have your ritual with your child, with your friend, with your partner, in
Yes.
prayer with spirit. It's absolutely beautiful. And have your kids gotten involved with your ritualistic?
Yes. Yes, they have more and more, and they do so in their own ways as well. But for instance, we'll do different rather than just, typical like Christmas traditions. We'll do those too, but I've started bringing them in for more of like a solstice ritual and get them to light the candles and get them to offer a blessing of what they're calling in this coming of the light and things like that. And sometimes they say, "Mom, this is weird." And it takes them a moment, but it's interesting to see their curiosity and then the way that they create their own ritual. And now I see them coming to my altar and they'll do a little wish. They would call it a wish versus a prayer, but I let
Mhm.
them have their own relationship with it. But I see them starting to do it on their own, which I think is like, it lights me up. It lights me up. Yeah.
It's really cute because when my kids were little and I have monthly fire ceremonies, but they didn't want to come for the whole thing and the chanting and all of the commitment. So I'd be like in the middle of ceremony, I'd be, excuse me, I'd be like, boys, do you want to come put a stick in the fire? And they'd go, yeah, yeah. And they'd run down and blow what they wanted to let go of and blow what they wanted to take in, put it in the fire. They'd take the fire and then they'd be out.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. It's
Wasn't
a
going to
natural
force
thing
them.
for them. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like how you integrate. There's no hard and fast rules about
No.
like let them just be.
Yeah.
Ellie, before we go to commercial break, real quick, tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes. So again, I'm Alli Mary Epp, ceremonialist and hypnotherapist, and my website is Alli, ALLIMARYEPP, .com. And also I'm on Instagram at Alli Mary Epp. Those are probably the number one places to see all my different offerings currently.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to have a short commercial break and we'll be right back. See you soon. Hi, welcome back. Shannon O'Flaherty here with my beautiful guest, Alli Mary Epp, a wonderful ceremonialist. And if you want to find me, you can find me at shannonoflaherty.com or shannonbtb.com. And Alli, if they want to find you, they can find you at
Alli Mary Epp on Instagram and allimaryepp.com is my website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So we've been speaking about the wonderment of ceremony and how beautiful it is, and how Alli got involved with this in the first place, which was initially from coming on a Peru trip with me, which was great. Love ceremony, can't get enough of it. So, Alli, you speak about reclaiming sovereignty through ritual. What do you mean by that? And why do you think it's so essential in today's world?
Yes. Well, I love the word sovereignty, and it's become more and more important and just something that I feel I am embodying more and more as I get older. And I think really it's been my journey with ritual that's allowed me to have more of a connection. And for me, sovereignty is my own personal power, my own sense of agency in the world. And I know so many of us are struggling in our lives feeling like we don't really own our lives, like we're not the main character and we're victims of all these things happening outside of our control, the politics, the chaos. There's so much that we could just get swept up into. And ritual for me has constantly been this reminder and re-reminder again and again that I can come back home anytime, really anytime I wish. Ritual is there, and it's the ritual of coming home to my body, the ritual of coming home to the earth. I live by the ocean. I'm looking out at the waves right now. The ritual of just throwing a stone with my blessing into the water. I don't need to pay anybody for that. I don't need to ask for permission. I don't need to have any certain belief system, religion, lineage, ancestry to connect with that. So what a gift, that's available to all of us. And that felt so empowering to me when I knew that, because there's, I think, a real, soul hunger for so many of us, but especially for those in the West that weren't raised with ritual. They
Yeah.
weren't raised with these shamanic practices that I got to, have this glimpse into. They weren't raised necessarily with ritual that felt aligned for them.
Mhm.
Maybe they had some religion and maybe that was beneficial, or maybe it was traumatic. And I know a lot of people feel averse to ritual because of some traumatic experiences with religion. So I feel like that ritual becomes this beautiful, very personal thing that they can reconnect in a way that feels aligned and right. And no, there's no priest, there's no guru, there's no one saying how it has to go. It's you and your spirit, whatever your higher power is.
It's this. I love that you said that you can always come home because home is where your heart
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
really. To and people have a hard time with that, even as a concept that, oh, home is right here. I'm home
Right
all the
here.
time because
Yeah.
so many people are running away from themselves or escaping into one thing or the other. So if you know that you have a strong sense of self, that you're grounded and that you're aligned and that your energy is flowing properly, you can come home to this silent space within. That's why everybody's always talking about, oh, meditate, still your mind, all of this, except that there's many ways to do that too.
Yeah.
But ritual is a really beautiful way to still your mind because it's giving you something to focus on. Even the act of lighting a candle or lighting the Palo Santo wood to smudge your energy, or gardening, for example, can be
Yeah.
very sacred because your hands are in the earth. And all of these things can be seen as ritual and self transformative meditative time with yourself, your higher self.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And how can, yeah, and you said, of course, probably most people haven't been raised with ritual in the West anyway, which is unfortunate that we've lost it because we all did used to at least pray together over food before we'd
Right.
sit. We'd hold hands around the table or something. And there are rituals, there's weddings, there's funerals, there's holidays.
Yes, there's sports. There's different ways I think people, because they're hungry for it, they, look for it in a different ways, maybe even subconsciously not knowing. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how can someone begin to weave ritual into their daily life that's meaningful and accessible to them, even if they're new to the practice? I mean, some people might be going, "Oh, really? Decorating the Christmas tree is a ritual?" Well, yeah, if that's what you've done every year, making the ornaments or making banana bread or whatever it is that you do on a kind of annual basis, that's ritual.
Yes. That's such a beautiful question. And again, so personal. And what I generally offer for those that are new and that, they don't necessarily want to follow any kind of necessarily belief system, which you don't have to, but it's looking at your relationality with the world. So that's where to start. So I always start with the moon because we all have some kind of connection with the moon, whether you've really, established that relationship or not, but that's just an easy one to start with because at the new moon, that's such a beautiful time to plant seeds, for calling in this, what you're setting the ground for the next month, for really bringing in your vision, your prayers, your wishes. And that's something we can easily relate to. And then the full moon. So just starting with those two. So just even creating a ritual around the new moon and full moon, because full moon is all about celebration, that harvest, accumulation of all your hard work, and then also the release. What are you letting go of? What are you ready to let go of before you enter this new cycle? And even just that simple connection of looking and seeing, whoa, what is the moon doing? I mean, now we've got all these apps and things like that, which is can be great. Just even that being like, oh yeah, what is the moon? And it's not a prescription. It's not to say there's a full moon, so you should feel like this and this should be happening in your life, blah 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 blah. It's more, oh, there's a full moon. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? It's an invitation to reflect. It's an invitation to go within and again have that self-sovereignty. How am I feeling? Oh yeah. What a beautiful gift, a pause to check in. And an easy way to do two little rituals for that. The new moon, I often will write a word or something. And this might not be a material thing that you're calling. This might be that you're calling in more love. I mean, it could be that simple. More
Mhm.
love. Okay, so I write the word love, and then I'll put it often underneath a cup of water, and I will put that out for the new moon. And I will feel that love. I will put it under the water. I'll let that water sit overnight. And then the next morning, I'll drink it. I'll drink it in. I'll drink in love and just think about all my prayers, all my blessings, what love feels like in my body, that I am love, and just something that simple can be a beautiful new moon ritual, whatever it is that you're calling in. And then for the full moon, a similar thing, but more about release. So maybe there's a pattern that I'm releasing. Maybe there's an old limiting belief that I'm releasing that's kept me safe for so long, but I don't need this anymore. I want to find safety in new ways. This is not working anymore. And I'll write that down just in a couple sentences. And instead of drinking it with water, I'll burn it in a safe way, burn it in a safe way, in a metal bowl or something contained. And I'll, with gratitude, again, gratitude in my heart, because that pattern kept me safe for so long. It was created for a reason. I release it. And just that feeling and allowing that sense of release. So those are two beautiful little easy rituals to do.
I love that. I mean, that's why I offer full moon monthly fire ceremonies. Growing up for me, my icon was the full moon. I mean, I would pray. I'm sure that's why I was put on point when I was 9 years old studying ballet, because my moon energy came through for me, because I
Yeah.
wanted more than anything in the world. And I'd stare up at the moon and the stars and pray for all of the things that I wanted the most. And I
Yes.
pay attention to the moon growing up. I mean, I suppose I was very lucky that I got to experience both hemispheres as a child, so both night skies. So it's always been something that's fascinated me a lot. Um, Rituals can be, I was the celebrant at my youngest son's wedding last year, and they wanted to be hand fasted like the old
Oh, yes.
way of hand fasting. So we had much hilarity figuring out how to do that. But we hand fasted them, and everybody had a lei of flowers around their neck, because this was in Sri Lanka. And so everybody took a flower off of their lei, and they were collected and put in a basket. And so they were spread flowers all around them in a circle, for they could so they could be married in love wishes from
Oh,
their friends, which was very beautiful. So, we sat together and kind of designed our own rituals and ceremony for what they wanted moving forward into their marriage together. So, you can make anything up that you want, which is really beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that, Shannon. That's such a beautiful experience to do that with your own, blood as well. Like how profound. And exactly that you said, it can be so creative, it can be so personally crafted to you, to what makes sense for you, that what lights you up, what inspires you. And that the little different things that you do, the flowers, the lei, the hand fasting, some would say, well, why are we doing all these silly little things anyway? In a sense, our subconscious, our psyche, it speaks the language of symbol. It
Yeah.
speaks the language of metaphor, and our soul speaks that language as well. So I
Mhm.
think that's often when we're doing those things, it's not just, oh, we're doing this thing, we have to do the red ribbon and then we have to do it. You can feel it. You can feel it. Oh, on a different level, my soul understands this. My
Yeah,
soul and my psyche and my subconscious understands this. And that's why it's so transformative. And that's why, like you said, that energy goes into their relationship, it goes into their marriage.
absolutely. What's what's one of your most favorite rituals that you've experienced or made up or done?
Oh. That is
Quickly
great. Okay.
in 4 minutes.
Oh, that is a great question. Well, I would say it's probably just what you said. The weddings that I have led is everyone holds a stone. So similar to what you said, everyone holds a stone. These are often seaside weddings, obviously, and brings their blessing and their prayer and their love for the couple in this like smooth stone, puts all their sweetness, and everyone wants to be part of it, really. Everyone wants to be part of the ritual. And then after the ceremony, well, as part of the ceremony, but after the vows, we all walk and line the ocean. So line the ocean front, and all at the chant of three, 1, 2, 3, and cast our stones with a big hiya, a big howl into the ocean. And then you watch all these ripples of love and peace and blessings, and you can feel it. You can feel the
I
energy.
love that. I feel
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, the ripples connecting because
Yes.
if you throw a stone in the pond, I always talk about how energy works. That this is why if you're calling in something, if you have two stones being thrown in opposite ends of the pond, their ripples of energy will meet way before the actual stones will meet.
Right.
But that's calling in that energy because the energy feels the other energy before the material thing or whatever it is comes to you. So
Right.
uh, that's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. What? Tell me another one, even faster.
Oh, even faster. Oh, well, my women's circles, where we are spell casting, I
Mm,
would say have been some of the most profound, and those ones often have their own little bit of magic to them. So, for instance, we'll do candle ceremonies where we were lighting. It was an Imbolc ceremony, so it was all about kind of rebirth and lighting our creative inner hearth, our inner fire. And as women, we need to support each other. We need to
yes.
support and uplift, and we know that, and it's such a natural thing. And yet sometimes can be barriers to that. And so each of us, we took this candle, and it was originally lit from a candle that was brought from my friend from Avalon, so it felt very special.
Wow.
And we lit our candle, and as we were singing this priestess song and chant, we would take our flame and light our sister next to us. So we were symbolically lighting it, but then also just sending our energy. Yes, my light sees your light. My light is feeding your light, and physically it's feeding it. And we would light her candle and then go around the whole circle until all our candles are lit, and we're just singing this beautiful song, this chant, and we were like a choir of angels. And everyone was just crying because it felt so beautiful and supportive. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, these ceremonies are really evoke a lot of emotion because a lot of people have never allowed themselves to just ground into that kind of inner knowing and that inner connectedness that all of us have all of the time. So, Alli, tell people again how they can find you if they've just joined us.
Yes, allimaryepp.com or at Alli Mary Epp on Instagram.
And I'm shannonoflaherty.com or shannonbtb.com or Shannon O'Flaherty on Instagram. I'm all over the place on Facebook. So we're just going to stop for another short commercial break. And then when we come back, Allie's going to tell you how you can design your own simple ritual. And we'll talk about that and maybe a few other cool ritualistic things. Okay, see you soon. Hi, Shannon O'Flaherty here, uh, talking with Alli Mary Epp about all things ritual. And in the last little bit, she mentioned sitting in a circle of women and spell casting. And I just wanted to put some clarity on the spell casting thing because this sometimes when people hear, oh, casting spells, oh, you're a bunch of witches, all of this. And this is not what we're talking about. So, Alli, would you please explain what the spell casting?
Yeah. Well, the way I use that term, spellcasting, is from some of the circles that I've been in and training that I've been in, that's, spelling, just even the word spelling, is comes from that idea that we're casting our spell, and that sense is simply it's we're creating intentionality with our words. And
Yes.
truly we are doing that every single day. So whether it's the language that you use in your day-to-day life, or whether it's the way that you talk to yourself, and that
Mm.
becomes a little bit more tricky sometimes to catch. But each time that you are using your words, you're putting your vibration out in the world, or the way that you're talking to yourself. And in that circle, we were singing. So we were bringing our voices forward in that powerful vibration. You are, in a sense, casting a spell, in the sense that you are putting that energy out in the world. So it's really important that you're aware with what are you putting out there? What words are you speaking? Are you speaking with love? Are you speaking with kindness, with awareness? And and if you're putting it out there, is that something that you want to be released into the world? So that's when I say spell casting, it's putting that voice, that vibration, that intentionality out into the world.
Thank you. I wanted to clarify with that because people, the whole thing with ritual, people make these immediate assumptions or judgments and things like that. And also with casting spells, immediately people think about a witch over
A
over
cauldron.
the cauldron, casting spells and things like that. So just wanted to clarify that. And I think that's beautiful, making magic with your words. Yeah, absolutely. Which we do every day because our voice is a vibration.
Hmm.
So that's beautiful. So I know that you might have a story to tell us
Oh,
or
yes. Well, yes, it's a
yes,
simple
a ritual.
story. It's a
Okay.
simple story, and it's kind of well, I think it's interesting. And it just happened on my birthday. So March 28th was my birthday. I turned 45. And every morning I do my candle ritual, like I said. But my birthday candle ritual always feels more potent because again, we're honoring that turn of the wheel, that celebration of life. That was the day that I came onto this earthly plane. Again, what a chance to offer my gratitude for this life, for this existence, for this body, for this wild trip. And so I was having particular vibrant meditation that morning with my candle, with my prayers, with spirit. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, you are, have this beautiful life, and you're also closer to death, which may sound very morbid, but it wasn't. It was a celebration, like, wow, you what a precious life. We don't know how long we have. We don't know
Mhm.
how long we have. And it made me cry, actually, thinking about, wow, 45, that's kind of getting to midlife. That brings up a whole bunch of emotion, a whole bunch more, again, gratitude for this day. So that I kind of had that, and I left that and was, that was sort of ruminating with me. And then I went to go and run an errand that day. And as I came out to my car, this has never happened before, but again, I live close to the ocean. There was a gigantic, like the hugest, fattest seagull right by my car door on the ground, and it took its last breath. It it was dead. Well, I saw it take one breath and open its wings, and then it just literally died right before my car. And I was at first shocked and screamed and a bit horrified seeing this beautiful creature, and seeing its last breath. And I thought, oh gosh, what kind of omen is this on your birthday? But when I sat, and then I sat with it, and I felt all different sorts of emotions. But I thought, okay, well, there it is again, just saying again, you don't know how long you have. Here's this gift of life. And I thought, oh my goodness, like, what am I going to do with this giant bird? I can't just leave it here. So I put on my big girl pants and said, well, obviously I'll have to give it a burial of some sort. And so I took it with a big shovel, and I carried it down to the ocean's edge, and the tide was quite far out, and I just put beautiful rocks all around it, and the circle of rocks. And I just thought again of this bird's life, and then that essence of flight within myself. And again, it felt, I shed a tear, and I felt this again, this gratitude for this connection with life and with the animals, and the brevity of the world. and I let the ocean, I thought the ocean will come back in and sweep this bird's life back, back out where it'll be transmuted into something new. And I left, and then I left for a few moments, and I came back to see if it was, still there, if the tide come in, and the gigantic vulture that I've hardly ever seen swooped down, picked up this seagull, and flew off with it. So
Wow.
yeah, so this all happened within maybe,
Oh,
half an hour, and
the full
and
circle.
the whole circle of life on my birthday. And I thought, okay, spirit, I see it. I'm here. I'm part of it. I'm part of all the rhythms, and it just felt like this really profound experience. And so that, I share that just to say anything can be made sacred. Anything can be a waking up of our place in the circle of life. And it's just a, amount of of pausing and feeling that, and feeling all the different ranges of emotions, life and birth, full circle. So
That is an amazing full circle story, really. And I mean, when do you ever get to see those things happen, actually? So, yeah, that's incredible that you know, especially in the West, we don't sort of celebrate death like shamanically. The
yes.
shaman gathers all of his people around them and passes his mesa on to either his apprentice or his next in line. And there's somebody there to cut his lifeline once he breathes out his last breath. If you're ever going to die or you're on your way to die, remember to breathe out, everybody. Breathe out. If you're helping somebody die, breathe out. Don't go, because often when people die, they go, to really breathe
Oh,
out.
yes.
Breathe out because you're letting your life force go now. Breathe out. And death is sort of embraced. It's not kind of, oh, I don't want to look at it. It's a whole different energy around it because, of course, the belief is that your body may die, but your spirit lives on. Right. So
Hmm.
very, very, what a gift. And thank you for reminding our listening and viewing audience that you can make anything sacred because life isn't all rainbows and unicorns. Life can be very, very challenging. And sometimes it's the darkest parts of life that can be the most sacred and the most kind of empowering and light filled, even though they're the darkest, hardest times. So,
Yes.
great reminder. So, what kind of ritual? Now we have the moon ritual, new
Yes.
moon, the
Yes.
beautiful word under the glass of water under the moonlight, and then
Yes.
drink water and feel the love. And the letting go for the full moon. In my case, on the full moon, it's a stick, and we do both. We call in and we let go, and we call in
I
in a
love that.
different sides and put it in the fire because fire transmutes energy to light energy, and then we take the fire energy in. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, gorgeous. Um, so, what's a ritual you're going to tell everybody now?
Yeah.
Usually at the end of this show, we have a healing of some sort. So, today you're going to get a ritual. So, take some
Yes.
notes now. If you need to get some notes, get a notepad.
Yes, yes. And this one is so simple and yet so profound for myself. And I call it the four elements connection ritual, four elements connection. And again, I love it because you can do it anywhere in the world, wherever you're at. It doesn't take a lot of things. I'm not great with rituals that take, need a lot of stuff and a lot of prep. And I think a lot of people are very busy. So sometimes they get overwhelmed with that and say, "Well, I don't have time for this." So this is very simple. And the way I would offer this and the way I offer it to my clients or even come to it to myself is in periods where you feel overwhelmed, which I know happens a lot. Overwhelmed or disconnected or on autopilot where you're not in relationship anymore with yourself and the earth. And you can sense that when you haven't taken a moment to recognize even that you're in a body. And so all you need for this is some vessel for water, okay? Some vessel for water, some form of earth. Now, that could be literally a little pot of actual soil, or you could use a stone or something that represents earth to you, something grounding. Then you are going to get a candle and a lighter. And then the fourth element is your breath. And all I do is make sure that you have this, again, can be as long or as short as you need, but it's nice to have at least to give yourself 20 minutes, let's say, or half an hour if you have the space and time to find a quiet space. If you can be outside, wonderful. If the weather or, your location doesn't allow for that, you could also do it inside. And all you're going to do is sit down with those elements and cast your own little 4 element circle. So you'll sit down and you'll place the candle in the middle. You'll place your earth and you'll place your little vessel of water so that they all make a little circle. And then you are that fourth element with your breath. And one by one, you're both calling in the energy of that element. So you can start, I mean, you can start with whichever one you feel called to, but I generally start with earth. And you just take a moment to breathe and to call in, and you can say it out loud or you can just do it internally. Call in the energy of earth. So when you think of earth, that what is that for you? For me, it's grounding, it's support, it's the mother, it's Pachamama. It's that being held of just, oh, I could put down my burdens for a moment and like what a relief. And just calling in that energy of deep grounding, of really being fully supported. And as you do, and you might hold the earth if you like, or just feel it, you're going to really feel it in your body. So you're calling in that element into your very body. So you're feeling your sitting bones down into the earth. You're imagining the roots going right through you into the center of the earth and taking a moment to breathe and feel how good that can feel. Okay. Like right away, I already feel better. just landing. Okay. And then you'd go to the fire and breathe that in, the energy of fire, the energy of transmutation. And for me, fire is alchemy. So it's both that the power of passion, of desire, of inspiration, which all the things that light me up, but it also helps burn away anything that's stagnant. So the alchemy of making the old into something new. So allowing that fire to burn away again anything that's no longer needed. And you can feel that and you can breathe that cackling, that moving energy, the fire that lights us up. And then with the water, again, you could hold the water if you like, and just breathe and feel into your own flow. So this is where the divine feminine comes in. Start to flow. And I often will sway. I'll feel into the waters because we're made of water and we love to flow, but we stop ourselves. So you feel into all the emotions, all the sweetness of flow and anything that wants to be cleansed. And again, you might take a little sip and feel that move through your body and feel the grace and the benefit and the beauty and the gift of water. And then for the air, you're calling in just the buoyancy and the uplifting of your breath, of your actual inspiration. You're in spirit, and you might call in spirit, call in well and wise ancestors, whatever your connection to spirit. And as I breathe, I often feel that uplifting, that feeling the wings, feeling that sense of being uplifted. And then take a moment to, again, 3 more breaths of just, again, big gratitude that I am part of the earth. I am nature. And just what a reminder. And just that simple ritual of reminding yourself that you are nature, you are not separate, is such a beautiful way to come back home. Come back home. Yeah.
Thank you. That was gorgeous. I hope you all got that to the best of your ability. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing because we are one and the same and connected to nature. We're part of the earth. So, Alli, quickly tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, allimaryepp.com or at Alli Mary Epp on Instagram.
And I'm shannonoflaherty.com or shannonbtb.com. Alli, thank you so much for being here with me today. It's been a fascinating conversation. I know we could talk for hours on this one subject alone, and there's so many subjects that you and I could talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
It's been great having you here with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the beautiful work you do.
You have been listening to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance with Shannon O'Flaherty on Transformation Talk Radio. On the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we connect the dots between your ancestors, your birth, and the patterns that keep you stuck, guiding you to a place of profound healing and unstoppable brilliance. By examining and healing your cellular imprint from birth of how you perceive and respond to the world and the challenges that are created in your day-to-day life, we can begin to heal and live more balanced and fulfilling lives. For more information, visit shannonbtb.com. That's shannonbtb.com.